Hello and welcome to another edition of the IATC Exchange Zone podcast. Ben Dewey here tonight on episode number 4 of the 2024 season, joined as always by Kyle Wagner, Joel Bloomer in the back. Christian's on the technology for tonight. We had a brief delay, little internet outage here, which is always my biggest fear of this video podcasting, but we're up and running. Hopefully we can stay that way. Kyle, how are you tonight?
Great. Packers snuck out a win today, somehow. Good weekend, but ready for a fun week of racing again.
Yes, and we've kind of titled it as the wild week of week number 3, and that's what we'll be doing and looking at this week here on the Exchange Zone. Let's start with tonight's quick question, and that will kind of spark the conversation as we go through the night. We're going to start with the quick question, and then followed by that, we'll be going into some of our segments, and then we'll have DJ Wolfram of Forest City joining the show, the head coach of the Indians, number 1 ranked in Class 2A, and then we'll finish off with some meet recaps at Marshalltown, and then we'll look at Gilbert and Holstein, and then we'll finish with some quick hits. So, Joel, what do we got for the quick question?
This week's quick question is, do you think schools should go away from using all-time lists, course records, school records, and time-based lettering systems outside of just the state cross-country or state meet course?
Okay, a lot of words in that. Read it one more time.
Do you think schools should go away from using all-time lists, school course records, school records, and time-based lettering systems outside the state meet course?
But that also is part of building a program. You want to keep data. You want to get kids excited. Maybe they set a course record for your school at Course A. Maybe they made an all-time list. However, when you run on a course that's 40 to 80 seconds short, is it really valid? And is it fair to the people before those kids to have their name removed?
Correct. That's the history is a big piece of it. There's so much that go into it because, at the college, level or pro level, whatever, that's a way different scale than what we're dealing with here. A lot of our kids out for our sport, they're not winning races and all that, they're not up in the front. So like place is a lot different factor for them in meets. For them, time is something that they can use, and to me, 5,000 meters is 5,000 meters no matter the elevation. So if it's 5,000 meters, sweet. But when it isn't, if it's off 40 meters or whatever, or if there's opportunities to cut the course, if it's a single line, it's not like a double line course and there's not marshals out there where you can cut, yeah, it's really easy to cut off 40, 50 meters in a race. So to me, and this stinks because it doesn't fall on the kids. We definitely want to get that out there first. That it's on the coaches and the ADs when they set up these courses. Now, is it possible to get 5,000 on the nose every single time? Probably not. And when you have those pre-race meetings, to me, I think coaches should be notified. Hey, it's 60 meters short. It's 100 meters short. It's 20 meters long, so you can accurately keep those records because. Again, if it's 5,000 meters, I don't care what the elevation is. It's the same distance.
Yeah, and I agree. When you host a meet, you hope to go to that meet and run on an accurate course, one that's 3.1 miles. I think some things to look at today's world is that I think a lot of coaches and ADs possibly are using their phone to measure courses. Or some sort of a GPS system. GPS would be better than their phone, but you're not supposed to use electronic measuring systems for a cross-country meet. And you got to use a wheel. And it seems like, especially this year, we've seen more short courses. And this is not just, we're targeting Iowa State or Marshalltown or anywhere else. I got 3 or 4 other emails this week from coaches around the state that said, hey, this course was 2.96. Well, 2.96 is really short.
You at least got to get to 3.
I mean, And, hey, just watch, these times are going to be really fast. It was 3.02 or 3.01. And, you're right. We're cheating the kids because they go to a meet and they get done and they see this huge PR, but then now we're wondering if it's accurate. It puts the kids in a bad spot. And I think we maybe need more education on how to measure a course. And we do have you have a couple of those slides to throw up on measurements of course and how to measure a course properly. I think I labeled them as 1 and 2, course 1 and 2. And, it's important. It's important to take time. Obviously, you look at how to measure a course, and there's certain ways, and you get wide courses, and then you get those small ones where it's a single line, and you measure those differently. So, interesting conversation.
It is. And I guess, have you ever seen an official out on the course disqualifying somebody for cutting a course in a cross-country meet?
No.
And, that part, might be on the kids a little bit. If a coach tells them to, if there is a corner to cut it, or, nope, stick to the line. But that is something where potentially it could fall on the kids. But in the grand scheme of things, you're right. It does fall on the coaches and the ADs. And in the end, we're not dumb as coaches. One, we're doing what we have to do to hype up our program, our kids. For 90% of our teams, time, that's what excites these kids. Other kids understand that place matters from meet to meet, or beating a certain kid that beats you by 6 seconds that meet. Okay, I'm going to beat that kid the next meet. Like, some kids get that, some don't. But we, for the most part, can recognize, okay, that course is pretty short. We can't count that in our records. We went to Winterset last week. They had to change the course the night before or the morning of. Coach told me it's probably 100 meters short. We didn't count a single PR from that meet, promote it, nothing. And, that's, it stinks. But, when they have a last-minute change like that to their course, it's hard on them to adjust. But, again, I don't know. It's a fun conversation, but I definitely think it's made in the future to make it so we have as accurate a courses as possible.
And so far on the Twitter poll, it's a large margin of no. Schools should. Do you think schools should go away from all-time lists? No. So is out in front. So it's tough. It is tough. The lettering system, I think that's a tricky one, because if you say, hey, if you break 19 minutes, you automatically letter. Well, if you run on a course that's 100 meters short, that's a big deal. And so interesting conversation. Let's move on here tonight on the Exchange Zone. And as we look back at a wild week number 3, we've got, 2 big meets that stuck out. You start with Marshalltown, we talked about last week, and we'll go in depth with that later. Gilbert at Iowa State was a big one as well. Holstein, the Tim Thomas Invitational, a 2-class meet. Don't see a lot of 2-classers anymore, but that's a 2-class meet. So we'll focus on them here later in the show. Let's start with our rankings boost for the teams. And that'll be flashed up on the screen here. And we'll start with Bettendorf. The Bettendorf boys, the Bulldogs, runner-up this past Thursday at Cedar Rapids. A.J. Wiley, 4th in the race. Ryan Hayden, 6th. Both break 16. And I need to be careful now mentioning times. You want to mention times, but at the same time, I don't think times is what we should be focused on. As you said, it's about places. And those two guys in 3A, Mount Vernon, Lisbon, this was a non-ranked Bettendorf team.
They've had a strong start to the season, and I think they've been consistently improving over the last few years, so this is cool to see them get potentially in the ratings boost here.
Definitely a boost. And oh, by the way, did we call Indianola boys last week for a ratings boost?
I didn't. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
How about them at Marshalltown? We'll talk about them in a little bit. Cedar Rapids Prairie, the boys, came in number 10. Kyle, I'm going to make a wild prediction right now. I think this Cedar Rapids boys team is a top 3 or 4 team right now. They go to Cedar Rapids. They win over number 4 Centennial without their number 1 runner. Nick Lee did not run at Cedar Rapids. I think it's the 3rd best team in 4A right now. So, yeah, Cedar Rapids Prairie.
That's a respectable pick right now. After this week, I've moved them up to 4 on mine. I would say 1 and 2 with Cedar Falls and Dowling are right now sticking out. Indianola potentially jumping in that conversation too. You know, a lot of these teams have just had weird starts or to the season. You know, Pleasant Valley and Johnston had you know, good, then whoa, what happened, and now back to good.
Northwest.
Exactly.
Ankeny.
Exactly. So it's still early, a lot to figure out yet, but nice work of Prairie this early season, getting here in the mix. You had them preseason 10, and they're definitely jumping up right away.
Yeah. And it was catapulted by Nick Lee's track season, as we said in that first episode. Had a great track and field season. Last 2 non-ranked Grandview Christian boys. They get the win at Colfax over number 13 Baxter by 4. That Baxter team you've mentioned already this year. And number 11, the PCM girls knock off number 5 Albia by 9 points at Davis County. Heck of a win for PCM over a very good and experienced Albia Blue Demon team.
I think they might have been one of our teams to watch early in the season, and right there you said it.
All right, let's go to the rankings boost for the individuals, and I'm going to start with, is it Eva Fleshner or Ava?
I think it's Ava.
We're going to go with
I'm probably
Ava.
wrong.
If it's Eva, let us know. But this is a name we said a lot, Kyle, last year. Haven't said it in a long time. But the Woodward Granger Jr. is back. He did not finish last year. She did not finish the season, according to the research that I did. Stopped at the conference meet, and she's had a great start to this year. Only lost once last year in the regular season, and that was a 5th-place finish at Ballard. And she won her first race this year easily at Colfax. That's a definite name to watch here as we go into this season.
I remember that race at Ballard last year, and seeing her up in the front in the mix. We're there again tomorrow, so excited to see
she'll be there.
How she bounces back from last year to this year.
All right, next up we have Evie Hennenberry, or Eve Hennenberry. What do you think, guys? Joel, what do you think?
I think that's it. Yeah. I don't know.
Which one?
Yeah. I'm going Eve.
I'm going Eve, okay. You want to talk about Eve, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely. Hempstead, after the loss of Julia Gale, Keely Lightson, reloading nicely, not ranked, like you mentioned.
Not ranked this week, coming into the week.
Man, finishing 6th in a loaded
She was
field
tremendous.
at Marshalltown. And then they, raced 2 days later at Luther, and she gets 30th. Or 10th.
10th,
sorry.
Yep.
30th at the state meet last year. So great sign for Hempstead. This was definitely a big week for them, and they skyrocketed up my personal rankings.
Yeah, she ran tremendous at Marshalltown. Very good race for her. Let's go to Matthew Shaw of Maquoketa Valley, 3rd on Saturday at Monticello, behind Nauman and the outstanding freshman Jesse Gomez of Denver. Not ranked last week, 7th in 1A a year ago. He'll be ranked 2nd going into this week. This is a state title contender there, Kyle, in 1A. I know you talked about him last year, and Matthew Shaw's in a good position here for the stretch run of the season.
Yeah, he ran I couldn't find the Clayton Ridge results, so Northeast Iowa's struggling.
A little bit. MFL Marmac still looking.
Yeah, no kidding. But big shout-out Coach Squires of from Dyersville Beckman. Emailed him to me. He ran an awesome time, which, again, we're back into the times. But on the Guttenberg course, from what I've seen on there historically, was an outstanding time. So he's ready to rock this year for sure.
All right, our last one there.
Julia Swift, the freshman from
New
Bishop
freshman
Girgan.
watch.
Algona 3rd at ELC. What do you think that stands for?
Esterville Lincoln Central.
There we go. And top 5 at the Tim Thomas meet in Holstein. Look for her to move up the rankings this week as well.
Yeah, Bishop Garrigan, freshman from Algona there, and she's going to have a good season. Good to see her. So let's go to Welcome to the Zone, and then we're going to be joined by Coach Wolfram of Forest City. Welcome to the Zone. This is rarely mentioned teams, individuals over the years. And let's start with Columbus Community, the Wildcat boys team. You mentioned you think they were 1 year away earlier this year on the podcast. Well, this week they win 2 meets, Hillcrest and Sigourney. Hillcrest was last week. Tyler Munez is the leader of this team. This Columbus Community team running very well in Class 1A for Coach Riley.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thought you were still going on South Central Calhoun there. Yeah,
No.
Mike J's Columbus Community. No, you're spot on there. Exactly like you said in my notes. That's what I had stand out to me. A year away, but here they are, standing out. We mentioned Van Buren last week, I think. Or 2
Okay,
weeks
so
ago.
let me be honest admission about Van Buren. I meant to mention Lincoln Bainbridge on the preseason awards show, not the team Van Buren. So they're new to the zone now as a team. Lincoln Bainbridge we've talked about.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that, Van Buren.
Happy accident, I guess. But either way, yeah, they're looking to move up the 1A rankings too. We got a lot of 1A. It seems like, that is the class with so many schools in it. Every year, it's hard to know who's going to jump out, and here we are a couple weeks in starting to see some teams come to fruition. But another solid week, taking down 2A ranked Mediapolis, and right behind a top 10 team in Danville.
Yeah, this would be Van Buren's, what I have researched, their first ever state meet appearance if they can get there this year, and that would be pretty cool for Van Meter and Lincoln Bainbridge, their leader. Let's finish off with a couple of individual athletes. I'm going to go with Elise Swart of Boyden Hole, Rock Valley. Kyle, she won first meet of the year at home. She was runner-up to Nora Peterson on on Tuesday at Sibley, 73rd at last year's state meet. She's currently going to be ranked 5th going into this week in Class 3A. Watch out for that name, Elise Zwart.
Man, what a start for her too. I would not have guessed that Boyden Hole,
And
Rock Valley.
that's a new name for us.
3A. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good find there. Good finds this week. A lot of those are Coach Dewey's this week.
Well, and you forgot Reggie Potts, South Central Calhoun. Tell us about Reggie.
Shoot. Man. Oh, goodness gracious. Would he come in ranked 13th in 2A, runner-up to Anthony Vallis, a very strong runner from St. Ed's up at that meet. So we'll dive into that meet a lot more here soon.
All right, very good. Congrats to those new names to the Exchange Zone. And as always, if you ever have recommendations, a couple of these actually were emailed to me, so that's the great thing about using our email. If you could flash our emails on the screen. Well, we skipped the subscribe like. So first off, we doubled our subscribers in a week. So nice job. We're over 100 now. So that was great. So subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram, X, am I forgetting anything? Facebook. And then if you want to reach out to us, do we have our emails? Cool. It's so delayed, so I don't know if what's on the screen. But anyways, our emails are on the screen. Reach out to us. It only helps make the show better. Let's go to our Coach's Corner, our first coach of the year. And we'll call it the Coach's Corner. DJ Wolfram, the head coach of the Red Hot Forest City Indians. Kyle, this is a tremendous story. Coach Wolfram took over the program in 2022. He previously was the head coach at Waldorf University there in Forest City. Takes the job at Forest City, and they have just been on fire the last couple years, and he's taken this program to a really good spot. The first ever number 1 ranking, and that was this past week in Class 2A. So, Coach Wolfram, welcome to the Exchange Zone. Thanks for joining us. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, Coach, before this episode started, you told us a little bit about your program, and it's a special one. I think it's driven from the culture of your team. How do you build this culture in such a short amount of time at Forest City since you've taken over in 2022? And what's special about this Forest City culture here in the boys and girls program?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of in a unique situation at Forest City. I'm not a teacher. I'm on our maintenance staff, so I'm in the hallways harassing the kids all the time. so I can go really wherever I want and, check in on people or be hardcore recruiting in the hallways. And, that's kind of how I've found a bunch of kids, walking into gym class, they're doing the pacer, and I see a couple of my guys out there, and I got some others. I'm like, I have no idea who you are, but you're holding your own with some pretty quality guys. So I'd harass them and say, you got to get out and run. But we just got a great group of kids, and the kids kind of recruit themselves. It's a very much a group that a lot of people want to be a part of. They do a lot of things together outside of the sport, vacation together, go to church together. They do a lot of other extracurricular activities together. So I just kind of very lucky to have stumbled in such a great situation.
And what has that transition from college to high school been like for you?
It's been a lot of fun. At the college level, I loved traveling across the country and going to meets and seeing people run really fast stuff. But the athlete coach relationship at the high school level is much more endearing. I really feel like I can make more of an impact on like 15, 16, 17-year-olds as opposed to 18 to 22-year-olds that are kind of already set in their ways and have their minds made up on what the right or wrong way of training is and things like that.
Coach, talk about your lead up to cross-country season at Forest City. You have this whole summer to get ready. What does that program look like for Forest City so that you guys are ready to roll? Guys and girls are ready to roll when the season starts in early August.
Yeah, so a big part of our summer success is my assistant coach, Michael Pettengill. Due to my obligations with the school, I don't get a summer break. I'm in the buildings all day, every day, basically making sure that the classrooms are all ready for the start of the school year. So my assistant coach would an 85% attendance rate at our summer runs. We've got 35 kids on our roster, and if I remember correctly, they as a whole, boys and girls combined, logged a little over 4,000 miles, and we only met 2 days a week. And we, before the school year ended, in our preseason meeting, we challenged them to own their summer training and to really be about it. And teams like this come around; they don't come around very often. And they were floating around some pretty lofty goals, and we said, well, if you guys want to do what you say you want to do, then the work's got to get put in the summer, and you guys got to own that and want it more than we do.
I see the Bridge 23 camp. Did you guys have a fun time there? And what did you really take away from that camp?
That's probably our favorite part of camp, or favorite part of the season. We've gone for 3 years now. We team up and go with Fairfield High School every year. Their coaching staff and kids are all awesome. And it's kind of cool that two complete opposite ends of the state in different classes get together and have a lot of fun. But Jeremy does down there, just bonding in a cabin in the woods, and just kind of getting all the new kids to understand, hey, there's more to cross country than just running hard and working hard. We something bigger than running.
Very true. We had a blast down there too. Just the team culture you can build there was a lot of fun. Going forward, what's next for your team?
We've got a 2-meet week this week. Our middle school squad makes their debut on Tuesday. They go to, and our JV is running at Osage, and then our whole squad's going to Clear Lake on Thursday, which we're really excited about. Ames sends their boys down to that meet, and we've got a really, really fun, friendly rivalry with Clear Lake's girls. We saw them last week down at Gilbert, and they're definitely going to want some revenge on us on their home course. So, yeah, we're looking forward to staying a little bit closer to home and getting after it.
All right, to wrap things up here, the Class 2A race is heating up, and starting with the boys' race, in what we've looked at so far this year on this show, it's wide open in Class 2A. I think we're going to be looking at multiple number 1 ranked teams throughout the year. What do you think of the 1A boys competition as the team race heats up throughout this season?
Oh, I think what an awesome year we're having. It's funny having Des Moines Christian bump up to 3A. There's no clear-cut favorite, right? And Denver just rocked it on Saturday. I'm sure you guys are going to talk about that a little bit. Upsetting Mid Prairie down in Monticello. Spirit Lake's got some dudes. Okoboji, they'll be the first ones to admit they didn't run super hot 2 weeks ago when we beat them. But they've been there, done that. And we're kind of playing to our strengths. All these guys got 3 or 4 guys that can really hammer it, but we identify as we think we got the best middle pack in the state. We think our 4 really take advantage of running with some matchups and beating some 4s and 5s, and I think that's what kind of sets us over the top is our dudes' ability to pack up and be successful.
Nice. Well, Coach, thanks for coming on the Exchange Zone. Sometimes the internet connection has been a little bit spotty, so we apologize about that. But we're definitely rooting for you guys and everybody else. Spirit Lake was my trendy pick early on in the season to be a surprise, and they look pretty good right now too. But I think this is going to go all the way down to that final day at Fort Dodge in Class 2A.
I agree. This is
absolutely a lot of fun.
To be a wild season.
All right. Coach DJ Wolfram of Forest City here on the Exchange Zone. Thanks, Coach, and once again, apologize for the spotty connection. I'm not sure what in the world's going on with the internet here in this house. We need to upgrade the internet connection here. But let's get back to the Exchange Zone, and it's meet recap time. And Kyle, I think we've got to start in Marshalltown. I think that's been the highlight last week, and boy, did it come through on Thursday. Everything that was hyped up going into the race played out, and you're looking at maybe one of the best races ever in a boys' race between two gentlemen running side by side. Now I'm hearing myself. Sorry. So anyways, sorry, I was hearing myself like a ghost in my microphone. But Zuber and Merrick, Kyle, I'm going to admit this. I left after the girls' race. I said I was going to get to the football game at Roosevelt. So I rushed to Des Moines, and I get all these text messages, about 4 or 5 from people that said, unbelievable race. They ran side by side, literally the whole race. Joel, I know you were there. What'd you think of the race?
It was really cool to watch. I was at about the 2-mile mark when I watched them pass, and Zuber and Merrick were up there having a great time together. And they were really competing and working together, and I knew then it was going to be a great race.
Man, and you saw the video just...
Yeah, do we have any of those pictures?
Say Zuber had him by, I don't know.
It looked like he kind of slowed down. Did you think he had it won?
I think Merrick picked it up, but
Merrick had a pretty good kick at the end, and he just outkicked him, is what I saw.
Zuber's newspaper article at Ankeny Fanatic, he said that Merrick timed his kick perfectly, and that's ultimately what ended up beating him. But, Kyle, I've got a couple stats for you on Zuber. And by the way, Merrick, outstanding. We've seen it in track. He comes out on a big stage and takes down Zuber. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Zuber is so hard to beat. And you look back at some of his historical races here in track and cross country. In cross country last year, he lost twice. A 6-second loss at Heartland to probably a really good runner from another state. A .02 second loss to Kiflay at the state qualifying meet. He avenged that loss at the state meet. Then in track, he lost by 1 second to Merrick in the 3200 at the Drake Relays. A 3-second loss in the Drake Mile to Anania from Norwalk. He won the 3200 by a second, and he lost by .04 to Ania in the mile at the state meet. So, my point in this, if you're going to beat Ethan Zuber, you're going to know that you better have your best, and it's going to go down to literally the last tenth of a second.
Better know how to lean.
Isn't that something? I've never seen anything like that.
It's just a gamer, always shows up. He's always in the mix. We and these two are not done battling. We got a lot of season left. I'm expecting a similar show when we get to Fort Dodge come November.
Incredible. And congratulations to Jaden Merrick, because this is a tremendous win. And like you said, they're going to see each other again. No question about it. But definitely a nice appetizer as we get going towards the state meet. Outside of that, Kyle, in this boys race, usually we go girls first, but we led with the boys. Cedar Falls looks really good. I mean, I want to say they look like the best, and then you see what Dowling did at the Olathe Twilight on Saturday night, and you're like, here we go again.
Right, and those results are hard to dissect out of state,
Both of them are. Times are crazy fast.
True, and even just the place and things like that. But we know right now those are probably the top two teams in the state.
Oh, hands down.
But this is the performance Cedar Falls needed to separate themselves from the field. I think a lot of us thought it was wide open, and I think right now it's looking like it's a 2-horse race. Absolutely,
and we'll talk about that competition for third. Indianola, the boys from Indianola, they're going to throw their hat in the ring here, Kyle, for a trophy contender. Now they're going to have to continue to get better throughout this season. This is a team full of underclassmen. They did not come into the season really on the radar of anybody. Reed Robbins, 17:25 at state last year on the legit course. He finished 8th at Marshalltown the other day. Jake Robidoux, from what I've heard, a freshman move-in, so not on our Fab freshman. We didn't know about him. He's running the solid 2. Kiefer Barnes, the coach's kid, a really good third runner for him. Kiefer, 30th at the state qualifying meet last year. He finished 22nd at Marshalltown, basically, essentially a mini-state meet. Kyle, I know it's early, but what a start for the Indians.
Without question. Barnes was their number 1 a year ago, if I remember correctly. I think he was a medalist at the DCG meet we went to. So for him to be their number 3 right now really says a lot of what this team has done. No seniors in the lineup.
Nope.
A couple sophomores there in their 5, 6, 7 spot. This is a team that's going to be in the mix for a while, it looks like.
For sure. And the Cedar Falls team, I shouldn't skip over the rest of their runners because they were tremendous. Holy cow, they've got the depth. They win the fresh soft race. They win the JV race. They swept all 3. This is a program just loaded with talent. Kiernan DeGroat, how about that performance? 5th for DeGroat, 6th for Connor Martin. Both of those guys are seniors. They put 3 in the top 6 at Marshalltown. Truly incredible accomplishment for the Tigers. Outside of that, a lot of question marks in this meet. After those 2 schools, Norwalk was 3rd with 152, DCG 4th. I tell you what, if DCG can get their guy back, their top guy, Arbuckle, who was in our, what do we have him up for? Breakthrough athlete.
I think so.
Yeah, if they can get him back, they're going to be in good shape. Ankeny and Waukee Northwest rounding out the top 6, and then a drop down to Pleasant Valley. So,
yeah, and impressive for Cedar Falls, losing 2 from their top 5 a year ago. They always reload, it seems like. Indianola's another team. I just looked at my notes. I had will be good in 2 years. I just need to stop doing that and put will be good this year.
And then they add this Robidoux as a freshman.
Yep.
But I tell you what, I don't know what you guys think, but third place at the state meet is right there for anyone's taking there, from about 5 to 7 teams right now. Indianola, Cedar Rapids Prairie. You got to think Ankeny probably going to get in that mix at some point. Waukee Northwest, we have not seen their full lineup yet. And DCG, we have not seen their full lineup. So it should be really an intriguing run here over the next few weeks as we get ready for championship season.
Yeah, without question. Norwalk's looked good. PV always performs well. City High's looked good.
City High, forgot them. They had a good performance at Luther.
Johnston's going to get better as the season goes. Without question, this is going to be a wild one. I'm glad we have a lot of weeks left to watch it play out.
Let's go to the girls' race. This was a good one, too. Teams first, Johnston. Very good performance. They needed this one. They got thumped pretty good on Saturday at Pleasant Valley. They ran much better in this one. Alex Woodley, we talked about her a couple weeks ago. She really separated herself here, Kyle, and this is critical for Johnston's success. As we've said, they need that low stick. Well, she gets 4th in this one in a very quality 18:08 time. Once again, here we are on times again. Time doesn't matter, but a 4th place finish for Woodley, 8th for Beasley, 2 in the top 10. That's something we didn't see at PV, and this is a good start for them and a good trajectory as they move forward.
And I'll stop you real quick. I don't want to say time doesn't matter. It does. A range of time is definitely valuable, but anyway, moving on.
I just got to stop getting in the continued pattern of just saying time.
It's just a natural thing.
It's natural.
It's a measurement in our sport.
Yeah.
So if anyone's got a problem with it, too bad. Move on. It's part of our sport.
But I want to say time because I want to celebrate.
I think we should. I think most coaches, and you'll see that you saw the poll results, are in agreement with us that it is important. It matters. We know how to celebrate it. So I don't think we should second guess ourselves for using it when talking about a meet, even if a course is short.
And I heard this course might have been a little short.
Right.
They had to make a modification to the normal Marshalltown course. So I don't know. I've heard it's accurate. I've heard it's short. That's the other thing. You never know what to believe.
Right.
So,
Yep.
Okay, back to it. Messerly 2nd, Marley Turk 3rd, but it was all Charlie Gall. First time I've seen her run in person, Kyle. She's really impressive. And if I had to put a number 1 ranked runner right now in 4A, this is the girl.
That's not a bad pick. Messerly, I'm glad she's rebounded, having an awesome season. Marley Turk, a good 3rd place finish after her Ames win. But you're right. This is right now, Gall on paper has proven herself to be the top ranked runner in 4A.
Her only loss to Farabee at Prairie, and she ran with her for a mile or two, and then the separation occurred.
And that was her first 5K cross-country race.
Yep. So a very strong race for the Cedar Falls freshman. And then down the list there, we had Hennenberry, who we mentioned, at 6th. In the team race outside of Johnston, they doubled up the field, which on paper you would expect coming into this one. No Centennial, no Pleasant Valley. Obviously, Johnston, a clear top 3 team. Cedar Falls, they get 2nd. This is a team that we thought was dangerous coming into the year. A lot of youth, a lot of new runners. And then the other youthful and new runner team, Waukee Northwest, they were 3rd. Cedar Falls 113, Northwest 119 for 2nd and 3rd. West Des Moines Valley was 4th at 130, and then a big drop off there to 5th with Ankeny. Valley got Bergman back in the lineup. I think they're going to continue to improve. Northwest looks strong. Cedar Falls looks strong. I think those three teams, Kyle, and Dubuque Senior are kind of in that 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th range, and a pretty clear cut right now.
Yes, I think that's the exact
That what
teams
you have
that
on your rankings?
Yep. And Valley has only 6 there. I didn't dive in to see which runner they were missing. That could move them up. Obviously, would put them more in that 4th place ranking, because just off of this, you're like, that probably moves Cedar Falls up into that 4th overall spot.
Mhm.
But, I just saw that now looking at the results. So I probably wish I would have caught that earlier. But no, those are the exact same teams I have in that next group of teams. Did you mention Ames in that one?
I did not.
With Helmers, potentially.
Yeah, if you put her JV time, maybe.
Yeah.
She did run the JV race, and that is worth noting. A great sign. That
and-
was awesome to see.
Yes, and I'm not saying at this moment. I'm saying in 6 weeks.
Definitely.
Like, we'll be in
Definitely.
that conversation.
Yeah, and she did run the JV race, and that's so the preseason number 1, Claire Helmers of Ames, returned for the first time since indoor track, I think. She had a surgery, and she's back now competing, which is awesome to see. She ran JV, ran pretty well for her for the first time.
Yeah.
Running second in that JV race. So good to see Claire back, and we'll see her probably in their varsity lineup here real shortly.
I think so too.
All right. Anything else there, Joel, from Ames that we missed? Or
I think that's
from
about
Ames.
it from Marshalltown.
From Marshalltown, that's right. Marley McMahon, I think, Kyle, was the one for Valley who did not finish, and she is their typical 5th. So
Okay.
that would have an impact. All right, Kyle. Gilbert time.
Wow.
What happened at Iowa State, then or Ames, and then Gilbert? It's like Twitter fear blows up.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of it's the 4A Premier Week meet the week before.
And then the 2A, 3A.
Correct. And to my knowledge, it's the same exact course, but little things can happen here and there. It does have, it has that tree line on the corners, which the line's not painted right next to those trees, so there are opportunities to shorten corners, I guess. I don't think runners do. I think they're pretty good about following the course out there, but nonetheless, we got to start with the 16:38 for Marissa Farabee. Wow.
I don't even know what to say.
I mean, we should come to expect it. I probably would not have expected it this early in the season. But just an outstanding performance for her, and maybe even more impressive, her teammate Elise Brennan coming in second, behind her, and then Laura Streck for Van Meter. She's doing an awesome job.
Yep.
Leading the Van Meter Bulldogs. And Van Meter, she raced Tuesday at Winterset on a very difficult course, or Van Meter raced there, and then they come Thursday to race at Gilbert. Winterset did the same thing with that Tuesday-Thursday race. So tough week on those kiddos, so a good job to them for standing out in the performances there. Anything else individually on the girls' side for you?
Yeah, I mean, the Pella is just really good. I know we'll get to the team talk, but there is no team talk in this one because they just blew everyone away. I mean, and that's going to happen at every meet they go to, and I think that would happen against anyone in Iowa. I'd love to see it happen. I know there's some talk out there.
Mhm.
Some schools maybe switching their schedules, possibly looking at running. I'd like to see Pella in Pleasant Valley, but I still think Pella wins pretty easily, in my opinion. Man.
It'd be fun to see. I hope it can happen. I know that it sounds like there's trying, like you've said. I've heard that they are trying. If it doesn't, so be it. It'll leave us hungry for more. And then, there's postseason races too that it could still potentially happen at down the line. Both are, good enough to be at those types of meets. But
would you take Pella or Pleasant Valley?
Man. I think I'd go PV.
Okay.
Not by much. These two, Centennial potentially in that conversation too, but
I just think with Farabee and Brenneman, as they're going to put 2 probably in front of PV's 1.
And that's the hard part too, is, you know, how many
yeah.
points they're gonna, you know, you can't, you know, just say Farabee wins by 40 seconds. There's only gonna be 1 or 2 kids in there maybe to
True.
push people back. So that's the hard part there with
Straight duel.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
But 23 points in a meet like this, over 100 points ahead of number 10 Solon. And then it's 2A number 1 Van Meter, 30 points behind that Solon team. Number 18 Clear Creek Amana, number 14 Winterset, and both of those take down number 7 ADM. All pretty close together. I think if you run this race 10 times, they probably beat each other a few times. Back and forth. All of them take down number 4 Gilbert. Now, it should be noted, Gilbert only had 6 finishers. So obviously they losing Danny from last year. Number 2 graduated. So they're actually without their top 2 returners still from a year ago. So hopefully getting them back soon. I have no idea healthy or what's going on there. But if they get those 2 back, they're going to be right back in the mix with a lot of these teams that they just finished not far off of here at this meet. Getting into the 1A, 2A schools a little bit more.
We had a 1 versus 2 matchup here in 1A.
We did. Earlham and Madrid. Number 2A in 1A, number 2 in 1A, Earlham gets the upset over number 1 Madrid. They were 11th in this meet. Madrid only 6 finishers though. Mila Grothis either didn't finish or didn't run for them. I have that as about a 30-point swing, which puts them right back with Earlham. So I don't think those 2 are done battling by any means throughout the rest of the season. Right behind Earlham was that Forest City squad we just talked about, number 4 and 2A. So a good meet for them to be right in the mix with those number 1 and number 2 schools in Class 1A.
Yeah, it was a good meet. A lot of good competition. I say it every year. I just wish Iowa State could just get the course figured out. I really do. And can they just get a consistent course?
And I swear, I thought someone messaged just a year or 2 ago, had it wheeled. It was spot on. I thought it was fairly accurate for the Ames one a week ago. Someone had told me it might have been a hair short. Again, how? I don't know, whatever. But nonetheless, we still get 2 good meets. And we're not even done with the ranked teams
They
here.
host a qualifying meet, too. Gilbert does.
Correct.
Joel,
Yes.
was it the same course as last year?
I believe so.
I think it's been the same for at least 2 or 3 years. And I know we have this conversation every single year.
I don't know.
And we're not even done with ranked teams at that meet yet. You still have number 17 in 3A North Polk. They take down, all those teams, I guess, take down number 8 in 3A Clear Lake. They had an awesome meet out at Augie, not the best performance here, so look for them to rebound at their home meet this week. And then a chunk behind them was number 14 in 2A Pella Christian and number 14 in 1A ACGC. So what a meet. Gilbert does a great job hosting it. I'm sad we missed it this year. I'm hoping we get back into that one next year. Always a good meet. They do a good job hosting, but just the talent, man, impressive.
And then in the boys' race, similar to the girls, it was all one team dominating, and that was Gilbert. And that was to be expected, too. But, man, they're really good.
How do you think they'd fare in with the 4A schools?
I think they are – I think they're behind Cedar Falls and Dowling. Now, I said that last year, and they went and beat Dowling. But I do think Cedar Falls and Dowling would beat Gilbert. Will we see that happen this weekend at Heartland? Does anybody know? You want to look that up, Joel? Gilbert and Dowling. Joel's gonna look it up.
Awesome. That's what we got him for, right?
That's what we got him for.
Got to put him. He's got to earn his paycheck.
Gilbert and Dowling at Heartland. Will we see them this weekend? All right. Yeah. So Gilbert and Pella.
And that's how it was in the individual race too. We can start with that. Dunham and Blake, just 2 outstanding athletes. Blake, just the sophomore. Dunham, the junior. Dunham ends up pulling away and getting the victory there. But Gilbert with 5 runners in the top 7. Isaac Sorensen, the senior from Clear Creek Amana, getting 5th to break up that perfect score. But
Five in the
top 7 in a meet like this is just absolutely crazy.
We got an answer from Joel. Quick one.
It does look like Gilbert and Dowling will be both there this weekend.
Well, your question will be answered.
All right. And even just the pack of those 4A schools, I guess, like Indianola, Norwalk, DCG, those schools, I'd be very curious to see how they compete with, because, this is one of Pella's best teams they've ever had, and they're getting absolutely, I don't want to say smoked, but they're not, like, at this moment, they're not going to beat Gilbert. And again, this is just a really, really good Pella team, probably one of the best that they've had. So just what an outstanding job that this team has done. There's not a lot you can do when Gilbert has 5 in front of Pella's 2.
We got an update.
All right.
No Gilbert on Saturday.
Jeez.
And possibly no Dowling because GRIAC is this weekend. So with the rollback of the year, the schedules are all off of whack.
Yes.
Yeah, some schools roll back, some schools don't, and that's why we're in this position where a lot of schools have different schedules this year. Track and field coaches, it's a good time to start planning your schedules for the spring because the same thing will happen. A lot of the large schools roll their calendar, a lot of the small schools don't. So then you get overlap of meets. And I'm not sure about the colleges.
What a fun year for ADs, huh?
Crazy. The state track meets Memorial Day weekend this year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I have not looked that far ahead. Wow.
Okay, we'll stick back to cross country. We're getting more texts flowing in here.
Jeez, popular guy over there.
Yeah.
Should we get back to whatever meet we were at? Gilbert, is that where we were?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But after that, it was not quite as crazy as the girls' meet. A lot went to chalk with number 7 Clear Creek Amana getting 3rd, just edging out number 8 ADM. About 40 points back from them was number 12 Carlisle, getting a nice little victory over 1A number 2 Forest City. They made the trek down like Coach talked about.
They were without 3 of their guys, though. Number
Really?
2, 4, and 6.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Again, went to chalk a little bit there. A few upsets that we had was not ranked Nevada taking down number 17 North Polk, who tied 1A number 2 Earlham, and then number 14 Pella Christian edges out 1A number 6 ACGC, all of whom sneak by 3A number 20 Solon.
All right.
Of note, I guess Winterset still without their number 1 Colin Kessler. He looked pretty solid for about a mile and a half at their home meet, so I expect them to get him back here in a couple weeks, and he'll really help Winterset get back up in that conversation with Carlisle and around that group.
All right, we got another update.
My goodness, I love this is
from a trusted source.
All right, I love this. We couldn't do this when we did just audio and recording.
The Iowa State course has been the same for the last 3 to 4 years, which is what you've said. Guessing it's 100 to 120 meters short, which is about what I've heard too. But that's how it's been since they took out the back hills and stayed up top for the entire 5K.
I heard 60 was my
60 meters.
Yep.
See, here we go again. We got to move on.
100 seems crazy. That's a long way. But
all
anyway,
right,
onward.
Let's go to some quick hits. We're going to put the Tim Thomas in the quick hits. So, the Tim Thomas Invitational Holstein, huge large 2 class meet up there in northwest Iowa, Holstein.
Yep, just on Highway 20.
And on time here. So, on our quick hits, and in the middle of the quick hits, we're going to go to Bloomer Trivia. You ready for that, Joel? All right. And, hey, we had a winner last week. We're going to have a hat coming out here. I had a grab bag. We were supposed to do a little grab bag there. But look at that hat right there. IATC. I'm going to put Exchange Zone on it, though.
Ooh.
So, we'll get to that. Couple quick hits here, Kyle. And these are rapid fire. So, Dowling Catholic, the boys, head down to Olathe, Kansas. Missouri or Kansas? I think that's Kansas. For a twilight meet.
It's all the same down there.
Late at night. I'm waiting up for the results, watching college football. And this meet is still going on, and they popped up like at 10 o'clock. So pretty cool stuff. But Dowling finishes 11 points behind Blue Valley Southwest and ahead of perennial power Bentonville, Arkansas. Owen Wolf is the new number 1 for Dowling right now. Jack Flory running a solid number 2. He runs 15:09 on this course. So there you go. 4 of their 5 broke 16. Dowling looks really good. Pleasant Valley, the girls from Pleasant Valley, this time they head to Luther, Bolin, and Wiedemeyer. Just a 6-second spread this week, Kyle, between those two. Milage also in there, a tight pack of 3. This is where Pleasant Valley, I think, could give Pella some trouble with the depth, and I think that's probably where you were going. Their numbers 3 through 7 are really good.
Yes, they are.
And I think that would match up with Pella in an interesting setup there. Dubuque Senior, another good meet. I know you talked about him last week. And how about Chloe Glosser?
Unexpected.
Of Pekin. 7th in this one, just right behind Ani Wiedemeyer of Pleasant Valley. Shout out to Chloe Glosser down there in southeast Iowa of Pekin.
That might throw her up in the individual 1A rankings quite a bit.
Yes. 2 for 2 for Kuma Gutema of Sioux City North, the outstanding freshman. One thing we didn't talk about going into this week was a freshman duel up in Lamar's. It was Gutema and Evan Lilly of Lewis Central going to battle, and Gutema with a 7-second victory.
And he, obviously great race at Augie Twilight, won the Tim Thomas meet. Man, that's 2 really solid freshmen right there.
Really good freshmen. And then Jesse Gomez of Denver, who we'll talk about at Monticello meet. Emerson Vokes, that's your guy. Your preseason state champ in Class 2A, right?
Yes, I believe that's right.
He's legit. 10-second loss to Nauman at Waverly. And yes, I looked at Waverly's results, even though they're split up fresh, soft, junior, senior.
I couldn't do it.
I did because of our guy Nauman.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
No, Coach Connor Roach, he's not with Grundy Center anymore, I believe, but I remember him telling me a few years ago this Emerson Vokes kid's going to be pretty good, and here he is.
There he is. Hey, Lake Mills, the defending champs in Class 2A, they had to battle some graduation, but Kyle, they just must like running 4 really good runners and then develop that 5th throughout the year, and that's exactly what they're doing. Same recipe, and they keep winning.
If it works, keep doing it, and when you have teams like that, kids get inspired that, may have, not put forth full effort and finally, oh man, if I start putting full effort into this thing, I can be pretty dang good. Not saying that's what happened here, but especially in those small schools when you just get that feeling of, man, we could be pretty dang good and kids buy in, scary things can happen.
And then the last one, Connell Salzer, my pick to win the 2A title, and Olwyn, his team, currently number 7. I think this is a podium contending team, Kyle. After winning at North Fayette, they competed very well last week, only a 12-point loss to Linmar in Class 4A, and this is one of those other teams. We were just talking to Coach Wolfram of Forest City. Throw them in the mix in Class 2A to be there for a trophy contending top 3 finish.
Yeah, it's wide open. We need a lot more data points to figure out the 2A boys.
All right, before we get to yours, let's go to Bloomer Trivia. And this is one that the group thought long about here prior to the recording time.
All right, this week's trivia question is, what did the state co-ed cross-country meet move to Fort Dodge?
Kyle says it's Googleable or AIable.
Don't do it. Don't cheat.
Winner, the first to get it right, gets a hat that'll be sent out here in a couple weeks. You must email bdewey@waukeeschools.org if you win, and we'll put the answer in the comments. What year did the co-ed state cross-country meet move to Fort Dodge? All right. Back to our quick hits.
Mr. James Mills has a dual meet result in the comments if you have a chance to look at that between Pella and PV.
Okay.
from the cross country ratings website.
I can't see
Oh.
the chats.
It's 26-29 Pella
26-29 Pella.
And a
Thank
dual-
you,
in
James.
a dual meet.
Thank you, James, for that. All right.
Thank you, James. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, James, while you're at it, can you do a Gilbert, Dowling, Cedar Falls?
All right. I'll keep an eye out for that one. I'll go through my quick hits. Mia Deegan, a junior from Cedar Rapids Xavier, gets the win at Benton over a solid runner in Channing Becker of Williamsburg. Mia Deegan definitely not been mentioned on the podcast before.
New to the zone.
I probably should have moved that one up there. A team that has been in conversation on the podcast in the past has reloaded nicely. It's Eli Horton's Sheraton.
They need a fifth.
They do. Only 19 points. I know a smaller meet down at Central Decatur, but looking impressive, I think, with 2A as wide open as it is. They're throwing their names right there in the hat. And then Coach Wolfram talked about it, that number 6 Denver team taking down the number 2 Mid-Prairie boys. And then we also had a good battle on the girls' side with Mid-Prairie number 2 and Tipton number 7. Just a 12-point going to Mid-Prairie.
Is Denver boys?
But Richmond and Steinus is going to be fun. Peterson and Denton's going to be fun down in 1A. But, yeah, it was number 1 in 1A, Nora Peterson taking down Alyssa Richmond of 2A by 5 seconds to win the girls' meet.
That'd be a heck of a race.
That'd been a fun one to watch for sure. I know that in the B race it had Addison Bertrand of Heelan, another name not mentioned on the podcast.
She's running well.
22nd win over Audrina Jones. But those Sioux Center MOC teams, they have some good depth. They had the top next 3 spots in that Class B race, and then if you look at the JV results, they just cleaned house on that side. So just impressive performance for them. Number 6 Sioux Center beats MOC Floyd Valley again. It is notable again that I don't know why I caught a bunch of these this week. The Sioux Center boys and girls both only had 5 kids finish or in the results, but they had plenty of kids in the JV results. So interesting thing that stood out to me. Let's see what else there. Number 10 St. Edmund taking down number 8 Alta Aurelia. That's a 10-8 there. Difference was at 5. That was the number 5s on each team was a 23-point difference between those two teams, which helps St. Ed's get the head-to-head win there.
Yeah, I've heard that's a really cool meet. I've heard that from multiple people up in Holstein. Obviously named after Tim Thomas, who was a great coach. His son Aaron, the head coach at Gilbert. I think he's won 4 state titles there for the Tigers, and they're in good position for a 5th this year, and probably a 6th and a 7th and an 8th.
Tim's a legendary track official.
Now he's
starter.
an official, yep.
I see him all the time. Sioux City North boys look good at this meet. I don't think we had them on our radar at all to be.
It's hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smaller meet, but still, I think they potentially move up into around 20th or at least in the conversation to be ranked.
Yeah. Do we have an answer in the comments? We have a winner.
We do. We have multiple answers and responses, with only one being correct.
Wow. Okay, good.
The correct answer is 1993, and it looks like Darn Arkema got it correct.
Nice.
Arkema?
Arkema.
Okay.
Nice.
Arkema. That's Linville Sully.
All right. We
Yeah.
had 2 at 1992. Or 2 guessed 1992.
According to the stat book, the record book of the Iowa High School Athletic Association, it was 1993.
That's what I saw too.
All right. Don Arkema, go ahead and email me if you would like a Exchange Zone hat. We'll send them out to you.
And we have our triangular meet results for Dowling, Cedar Falls, and Gilbert.
Okay, let me guess. Dowling, Cedar Falls, and Gilbert. I'm going to go Dowling 1, Cedar Falls 2, Gilbert 3.
You don't want to guess the points?
No.
Dowling 38, Cedar Falls 40, Gilbert 44.
Wow.
Pretty close.
Okay.
I know there's not a lot of points to be had in a triangular, but it wasn't like Dowling at 23 and...
We need to get James a spot down here for rankings. Just fire him off throughout the meet. All right. So, anything else from this week? Oh, let's take a look back at the Twitter poll, because that's what this episode's been about. Ooh, good amount of votes tonight. Oh my goodness, we've got some profanity.
Oh, no.
We have a large amount of people saying no. So, I don't think anyone said we were suggesting this. It was just brought up. So,
I'm scared to go look now.
yeah, you don't want to. But I appreciate all the votes.
On that, can I just, Twitter's or X or whatever the heck it's called, people can hide behind keyboards. They can hide behind burner accounts. They don't put their name on it. And it can be a tough thing for kids to go on there and see comments about themselves. So kids, don't buy into it. Don't pay attention to it. Control what you can control. Lions do not pay attention to the opinions of the sheep or wolves. Lions probably don't either. Wolves don't. So,
to be honest with you, I think it's a reasonable question to be asked. I know several coaches that are really questioning, how do you continue to keep course records and you keep all-time lists? I mean, it's a legitimate question.
It is, but I think it's on the coaches too for, common sense, I guess, to know, hey, that course is short, and even us, I tweeted out our
But you got to know.
Right.
And that's where you said, if it's short, that's fine. But you got to let the coaches know.
Right.
Like in the pre-coaches meeting or the pre-race meeting or an email after, just say, hey, because then you can do some time conversions. That's always been a part of it. If it's 200 meters short, if you're a girl runner, that's probably a minute, 45 seconds to a minute. 100 meters is half of that.
Right. And
I think that's fair.
Correct. And yes,
But to get an email and say it's 2.96 meters or 5K short,
right,
2.96. I mean, that's really short.
And I get in the going into it, knowing is a lot better. Like I tweeted out our kid broke the school record at Ames last week.
So should a school record count?
Well, and I went because we had that conversation whatever year or 2 years ago that course was accurate. Seeing Zuber run 14:56 or 58, that's to me that's a legit time. A few guys in the 15s.
But then we have a viable source saying it's about 120 to 130 meters short.
I don't know if I believe that. That seems excessive. Because that's...
Okay, let's move on. We could talk all night.
We could.
All right, Joel. Upcoming this week, week number 4. Last week was great. This week's going to be tremendous again. What meets are we looking at for week number 4?
Yeah, so this week, starting on Monday, we'll have the Ballard meet. Let's see, it looks like Pella and Gilbert will be there. Gilbert ranked number 1 and Pella ranked 2nd.
I don't think their varsities are running.
Both varsities are not running?
I do not believe so.
All right. And then this week also we have the West Des Moines Valley Tom Carpin invite. Let's see, number 4 ranked Ankeny Centennial will be there. Norwalk will be there. Waukee will be there, just to name a few. And then ending the week, Saturday, we'll have the large Heartland Classic with a bunch of out-of-state schools. It's going to be very similar to Marshalltown in terms of teams competing there. Going to have a lot of the top ranked 3A and 4A teams to be there and individuals. And it looks like they'll have a pretty good chance to compete against teams outside the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Heartland one's always a tough one for me to judge because I just don't know some of those out of schools. It seems like the meet might be smaller this year. With GRIAC going on, I'm sure that's taking some away. And, so it should be an interesting. And we will be back next weekend at 8 p.m.